Today, the Supreme Court handed Donald Trump at least a partial victory on his Muslim travel ban by reinstating significant portions of it. We're going to break down what is reinstated and what is not in this video. The Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration should be allowed to enforce the ban starting on Thursday, June 29th. That's 72 hours after the court's ruling was issued. The Supreme Court will take up the question of constitutionality this fall, which means that the court case, the lingering court case has been going on for months already, will continue to go forward. So what is happening today is not necessarily permanent, although it is bad for the people that it will affect in the meantime and theoretically sets a bad precedent for the future. But let's break down the specifics here. The Trump administration will begin to bar some citizens of Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen from entering the US for 90 days later this week. And it will be able to stop some refugees from entering for 120 days. Now, as we pointed out in the show earlier, the bringing back certain portions of it was widely supported by the justices, but some wanted more. Conservative justices Neil Gorsuch, Clarence Thomas, and Samuel Alito argue that the Trump administration should be allowed to enforce the ban in all cases beyond what they will be able to do for the next few months. So I know you were wondering where Gorsuch came out on this. He wanted a full reinstatement of the ban going forward until at least this fall and possibly permanent.
Yeah, every once in a while the establishment media will see conservative who is not foaming at the mouth, who can actually put together a sentence or two back to back.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh my God, this guy's reasonable. He's not like Trump, he's not like the other guys. Neil Gorsuch, what a reasonable guy. He went to Harvard Law with Barack Obama. He's among the elite, he should be great. No, you look at his cases. He was among the very, very most conservative judges in the country. In fact, with his ruling in the case where he said, if you don't want to listen to a corporation that tells you to sit in your truck and freeze to death, then you should be fired. So no other judge in the country had ruled in that direction, right? So don't get surprised when Gorsuch, as he does in this case, votes extreme right wing in every single case. So.
But it doesn't matter because if anyone else had won the presidency, they probably would have appointed him too. Anyway, let's break down more of the specifics on what is being reinstated. Tourists from the 6 majority Muslim countries who don't have close family in the US will definitely be barred from entering, which is great for the American tourism industry. So way to go there, Donald Trump. Anyone who already has a valid visa should still be allowed to enter the country. Although, I mean, there you're really leaving it up to a lot of individuals that theoretically could adjudicate it in a more or less stringent fashion. So theoretically, some, if they have no connections to questionable people and connections to family in the US, will theoretically still be allowed to enter the country, although that remains to be seen. But I did want to show this to Cenk because obviously Donald Trump very excited about this, considers it a gigantic win for him. And so he tweeted this, very grateful for the 9-0 decision from the US Supreme Court. We must keep America safe. And it's 9-0 with an O. Leaving me to have to think for at least 3 minutes. Does he know what the O in 9-0 means? And I don't know that he does. What the hell?
This is our president.
9-0.
So another point I wanted to make about this is, does politics matter for judges and justices? Of course. So every other court that had looked at the travel ban said, look, it's obvious he's trying to ban Muslims. He said it over and over again. He said that he was for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country when he was running for president. Rudy Giuliani said that he then called him up and asked him for a way to make it legal, but it was in fact a Muslim ban.
Yeah.
And then he confirmed it and reconfirmed it over and over again.
Recently.
So the Fourth Circuit looked at that and said that's a violation of the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. We cannot establish a religion, and you are clearly discriminating against Islam here, or people who are Muslims, so that's unconstitutional. The Supreme Court looked at it and was like, no, I don't think so. He wants to, these are 6 random countries. Could have been Norway. Now, look, conservatives will say, to be fair to them, he didn't ban all the Muslim countries. The ones he's got really good business deals with, they still can come in, like Saudi Arabia. by the way, some of the worst abusers. 15 out of 19 of the hijackers on 9/11 were Saudis, but they can come back in, no problem. We got a lot of deals with the Saudis, right? So, but the conservatives turn around and go, hey man, you say tomato, I say tomato. We didn't ban all the Muslim countries, so it must not be about Muslims.
I won't make the actual, it would be very easy to make historical analogies about, well, they didn't ban everybody, they didn't lock up everybody, you insert whatever you want from history. We're worried about precedents as well. Not to mention, of course, that this is bad by itself, even if they never go farther. But theoretically, they could. If the Supreme Court were to uphold this, then 6 can become 7 or 10 or 20 or the entirety of the planet.
Yeah. They said that preserving national security is an urgent objective of the highest order. Because like national security in the time that ban had been blocked had fallen apart. You see how many people came in from Yemen and Somalia and blew people up. Oh right, none. In fact, it's not just the time that the travel ban had been rejected by the lower courts. It's since 9/11. The 6 countries involved have not had one person from those countries do a deadly attack inside the United States. It is based on no facts whatsoever.
Cenk, you're using big words. If Donald Trump is watching this, you want to know how many refugees from these 6 countries have committed terror attacks in the US? 0, spelled O. None of them.
So, and to give you a sense of how much this ruling matters, obviously it's the Supreme Court, so that's a huge deal. Now they're going to do the full ruling later. This is just temporary. This is saying you can go forward with the ban while we consider the case. But the 90-day ban will already have been completely executed by the time they get to making a decision on the case.
So they get it.
And maybe even the whole 120-day ban on refugees. But if you're against Muslims entering the country, I mean, Muslims from those 6 particular countries you're really worried about, but not the Muslims from the other countries. Anyways, don't worry, because if the Supreme Court says it's okay, the bans can become indefinite. So then we'll have an indefinite exclusion based on religion. I'm sure that's what the founding fathers would have wanted when they said, we shall not establish a religion. You don't like ads? Well, I hear you, brother. Did you know that you can become a Young Turks member, get the full 2-hour show every day on demand, plus so many other network shows, all ad-free for just $10 a month? Give it a shot right now, tuytnetwork.com/join.